Fellas, AC here. Welcome back to another review. Now, a couple of days back, I was basically talking to a mate of mine who wants to move to niche fragrances, and he's dabbled a bit. So he went and got himself a couple of very famous niche fragrances, and he didn't like them. Number one was Amouage Jubilation 25. He didn't like it. And the other one was even more expensive. He got himself Roja Dove, Diaghilev, £950 fragrance. Didn't like it. So he asked me, he said, how do you determine the best fragrances for a step up? So I said, okay. So first thing I would do is I would go and get fragrances. First of all, I'll sample and see if those fragrances are in line with what I really know, what I understand the fragrances to be. And the other one is to go for safer niche fragrances. So that conversation sparked an idea in my mind. I said, okay, let me do a video. I want to make this a two-part series. The first part is basically my suggestions, and the second one would be I want you to tell me what you would have done if a friend of yours came and asked you that he wants to go niche. What would you have recommended? And then based on that, and I have some more ideas, I'll create a second part. So the first part. So I'll start with fragrances. This part has, mostly niche fragrances that are very easy to wear. And most of them are fragrances I have reviewed. So let's start. So before I go into the list, what do we want from a niche fragrance? Why do we buy niche fragrances? I think the number one reason that I can put my mind into is an expectation that a niche fragrance is supposed to get you better compliments, more noticed. Yeah, people always respond to something luxurious. Yeah, so that's, I think, the first expectation. The second expectation, I guess, is for aficionados, people who really like perfumes, for them to smell something complex, something more different. Not complex, but something different. And third is quality conscious people. People who love their stuff to be high quality. They gravitate towards niche fragrances automatically because they want to smell more natural stuff, more high quality stuff. So it's hard to find a niche fragrance that meets all those three. I fall in the second category. I want to experience perfumery. And that's why I gravitated towards niche, and then towards even more complex niche fragrances, and then towards indie. Indie and niche go hand in hand, really. But yeah, for me, most of my niche collection is very complex, but I have some less complex fragrances. So let's see if we can meet all those three criteria. But the first criteria is most important, and that's what most people want, and that is better reactions, more compliments, more reactions, nicer reactions, So obviously, niche, there are fragrances in the niche category which are hyped to high heavens. Those ones are so common, they've been cloned again and again. So those ones, people are already aware of them, so they won't get you the compliments you want. So I have excluded those fragrances from my list. For example, Creed Aventus, Tobacco Vanille, they're all out of this list. Why? Because they've been done over and over and over, they've been replicated, they've been cloned. Don't expect huge compliments from them. People just know. Somebody passes wearing CDNIM or whatever, you know that he's wearing an Aventus or an Aventus clone. So those fragrances are not in this list. So, without further ado, let's start. Number one on my list is a fragrance which is one of my best discoveries of 2018. I have enjoyed it thoroughly. I've reviewed it. It's a very easy to wear but very high quality fragrance with amazing reactions. It's Parfums de Mali and it's Galloway. Parfums de Mali create fragrances which are very easy to like. And they're mostly in the designer sort of territory, if you like. So they're not complex, but they're very high quality and they're very likable. I'm beginning to really like this house. So Galloway, what does Galloway do? It's basically a musky citrus. It uses very fresh neroli with citruses. So I think there's citrus fruits like oranges, lemons, and there is bergamot as well. But the magic is a green iris with a birch note. Yeah, so it is very manly, very fresh, and very confident. That's the reason I like this fragrance, because I wear most of my fragrances to work. This is beautiful for a daytime situation where you're dressed smartly and you want to give out this impression of a uber confident man who has a tremendous sense and sense of style. Yeah, and it's basically one of those fragrances that you wouldn't get bored of. It also reminds me of a very expensive Roja. It's Roja Elysium Parfum, not the Cologne concentrate, not the blue bottle, but the clear bottle. It reminds me of that, and I've tested it side by side. So the Roja is probably 4 times more expensive than this. Yeah, Parfums de Mali are not cheap, but this one is my first entry into a person who's trying to get into niche fragrances. I would highly recommend this. Test it out, see if it works for you. I'm very surprised if you don't like it. Next one is again a daytime citrus-based fragrance. Extremely likable. One of the most, I'm very confident in recommending this to everybody. One and all. It is by Byredo and it's Bal d'Afrique. Bal d'Afrique goes into the territory of using citrus. So orange, creamy vetiver, green, sparkly, creamy vetiver with blackcurrant, and one of the surprising notes is the teguet, the flower, marigold teguet, whatever you want to call it. It's basically a very happy, very confident, very easy to wear niche fragrances. For a person who's trying to dive into niche fragrances, I highly recommend this. It's also very versatile, just like Galloway. You could wear this all year round. Excuse me. I think it's such a beautiful fragrance. You will enjoy it every time you wear it. I love it, and I recommend it with full confidence. Okay, friends. So the next one on my list is a fragrance that I did an exclusive review of about a year ago. Since then, I've made this recommendation to about half a dozen of people I know, and every single one of them has come back and said to me that it's one of the most amazing, one of the most luxurious, one of the most interesting fragrances that they have ever owned. It's by a proper niche house, Roja, and it's called Oligarch. Oligarch is basically a chypre, but it centers around 25 notes. It centers around fruits. It's mostly about fruits, but you have different aspects of a chypre coming through. So you would have oak moss, you would have slight hint of leather sometimes, but lemony fruits and lavender. It's so complex. It's got 4 transformations, but most importantly, it's manly, it's confident, it's opulent. It leaves an indelible mark in the psyche of the person who smelled you. This is one of the most amazing step-up fragrances I could recommend to you. It is expensive. For 50 ml, it will set you back by £245. But yeah, if you have the money and you want to really enjoy all those 3 criteria that I highlighted initially, then Oligarch is probably one of the best fragrances you could go for. Highly recommend it. I've reviewed both these fragrances, so you can check the details out. The next one is a fragrance I have reviewed, and I've reviewed this year. I think it's a stunner, and it's also a powerhouse performer. It is by Acqua di Parma, and it is called Quercia. Quercia basically means oak tree. Now, this fragrance is so unique. It is light citrus type scent. I say light. What I mean by light is not something which doesn't have performance. I mean lesser layers. So it's basically centered around citrus, oak moss, geranium, and fresh grassiness. It's like walking on a very sunny day through a forest which is full of oak trees. Yeah, it is again very confident, very elegant, and very, very charming. Guys, if you smell this, you will be taken over. It is impossible for you not to like this fragrance, and it's impossible for people not to like it on you. Yeah, I have done a full review. You can check it out. It's one of the most easiest fragrances to wear if you want to go niche, and it's highly likable, so you'll get a lot of compliments. And Acqua di Parma is very high quality, so I'd be very surprised if you don't get the third criteria, sorry, that is very high quality. In fact, all these fragrances are very high quality. So I've done 3 daytime niche fragrances, easy to wear. So I'll carry on with that, and I'll do another daytime fragrance. This is another fragrance I've reviewed, and this is an oud-based fragrance, and it will surprise you that it's very bright. It's by Arabian Oud, and it's called Kashmir. Now Kashmir, I've reviewed it, but I'll tell you one thing, guys. This is a very unique, creamy, woody, citrusy fragrance, which has amazing complexity and depth and opulence. It's very rich. In spite of being a daytime bright woody scent, it's very, very rich. And it's also very calming. Oud is supposed to do that. So the kind of oud they've used here, they've used 2 types of oud. They've used Kashmir oud and they've used Cambodian oud. Cambodian oud has this beautiful nuances of fruit and tobacco. It's got amazing depth, and in spite of having that beautiful depth, it's highly variable and light. Not light, but bright, because it uses yuzu fruit. Again, I've done a full review. Check it out. It's one of the most easiest oud-based fragrances to recommend. Kashmir by Arabian Oud. Absolutely stunning, guys. Very easy to wear. If you want to step into oud, and that to niche quality, Kashmir is beautiful. Next on my list is a fragrance that is versatile. You can wear this daytime, nighttime, but preferably cold weather. All these 4 that I've shown you up till now are any time around the year. They're versatile. Any season, it'll work. This one is a cold weather fragrance. It's a highly romantic fragrance. It's called Eau Duelle by Diptyque. Again, one fragrance that I've reviewed. Wow, man. What it is it's a jewel with incense, but not churchy incense, and vanilla. You have to really smell this to actually understand the artistry behind this fragrance. So this meets all 3 criteria. It's a beautiful, easy to wear, wonderfully made, and very high quality. So I've done a full review, check it out, but this is one of those easy to wear, cold weather, incense vanilla fragrance that, it is very highly addicting. Look at the dent, yeah? And it's been in my collection for a while, but it's such a fantastic fragrance, very romantic, very beautiful. So Eau Duelle, guys, highly recommend that. Okay, next one is another versatile daytime, evening time, slightly cold weatherish fragrance, but it is an outstanding fragrance. Outstanding. It is Sunshine Man by Amouage. Wow. This befuddles me. Basically, what I smell is brandy, oranges, lavender. So it's boozy barbershop. But I'd be doing this fragrance tremendous injustice if I was to categorize this as a boozy barbershop. It's much, much more than that. It's so complex, it changes so much. And if you put it on your wrist, all you will do is this all day because it changes so much. It's one of the most complex, one of the most likable, one of the most easiest amouages to wear. It is an outstandingly, stunning fragrance. I've got 2 little decants and I'm on the verge of pulling the trigger. It's creamy, it's boozy, it's barbershoppy, it's fresh. Yeah, it's just so beautiful. It's one of the top amouages you can get your hands on. Sunshine Man. Okay, I think I've done 7. So let's do some nighttime fragrances. Okay, one I'm going to do is basically for you party animals. Yeah, it is again just like Parfums to Mali. It's by a house that does designer-like niche fragrances. It's Killian, and it's called Intoxicated. I've reviewed this. My God, you know what this is? It will remind you of Pure Malt by Thierry Mugler, but it's like 10 times better, 10 times more opulent, 10 times richer than pure malt. So it's got booze, it's got cardamom, it's got cinnamon. It's just hard to explain in few words. Do check out my review. But what I'm trying to say here is, if you want to own the party floor, intoxicated. It is really intoxicating. That's why I avoid smelling this, because the moment I smell this, I want to wear it. And I just have a small decant. I'm going to go for a full bottle, but it's eye-wateringly expensive. That's the problem. 50 ml can set you back by 250 pounds. It's really expensive, but well worth the money. If you're a party animal, you want this in your arsenal. And it's so easy to wear, so easy to like. In fact, it's just a super glamorous fragrance. I wouldn't say it's sensual, but it's just basically grabs your attention, you know. It's really a lady killer. Trust me, this is fantastic. Intoxicated by Killian. Number 9 on this list is, again, one of those discoveries of 2018, which floored me. It's by Tom Ford, and it's called Vert de Encens. This is on my 2-buy list, like Sunshine Man. Now, Vert de Encens is a masterpiece. It's not getting the kind of attention it deserves. But if you check my review out, a lot of people have actually gone ahead and bought the fragrance after my review, after watching my review. And they've all come back and said the same thing like Quercia, that it is an absolute stunner. What it is basically a green scent, but it's creamy and it's very, very attractive. The moment I say green, people think about the 80s fougères. No, this is a creamy, woody, highly elegant, extremely well-performing, extremely complex fragrance. It uses resins, it uses pine, it uses fir, it uses incense, but incense is like green incense. Highly complex. Again, check out my full review if you're interested, but it's very elegant, very easy to wear, all year round. Just a massive compliment garner. It'll probably meet all 3 of the criteria I laid out. Last on my list is an absolute masterpiece. Now this is again evening time scent, but it's a serious masterpiece. It's by Dior, it's Ombre Nui. The only thing is it's been reformulated, slightly watered down. So you're looking for vintage version. You know, I don't even have to smell it up close. I'm smelling it from here, and Ombre Nui is absolutely overtaking my senses. Ombre Nui basically is centered around few notes like rose, ambergris, and citrus. But it's much, much more than that. It's highly complex, very sensual, and overpowering. The scent isn't loud. Doesn't go and project itself like a beast, but it's like sandalwood. It takes over your senses, and you're just completely spellbound. Just sit there and relax, and just puts you in a beautiful state of mind. Easy to wear, extremely sensual. So you know, when you're wearing this into a special occasion, excuse me, all eyes will be on you. It's one of the most amazingly elegant, amazingly opulent, amazingly sensual fragrances ever. So Ombre Nui is the last recommendation. So all I want you to do now is obviously tell me what you would recommend to a friend of yours sincerely if he's trying to get into niche. And I have a few more, and I'll create the part 2 of this video. Hope you enjoyed this one. Take care. Bye-bye.